Here we go, another question from the man from New Zealand. It's Eric Bakker. Greetings. Right, we've got a question here from somebody. What is the link between toenail fungus and Candida? Does this mean it's systemic? And this is the tip of the iceberg? All right, let's get a couple of things straight. I've done some videos on this previously. You can have Candida in the digestive system and have nothing peripherally, which meaning no vaginal infection, no jock itch, no toenail, no ear, no scalp, nowhere else in the body you can have fungus. You can just have it in the gut. Or you can have it peripherally, okay, and not in the gut. But usually I don't see that. Usually when people have got a fungal infection on the periphery of their body, you know, on their toenail or vaginal area or facial or armpit or jock itch, whatever, they've usually got some degree of Candida in their gut. And in some cases it will be culturable. We can measure it through stool testing. But in many other cases, we can't culture the yeast in that case. But when we do a stool test, we find dead yeast in all three samples. We find many, many, many in all three samples. That's very often what I find. Right? That's based on probably 4,000 stool tests now that I've done. So yes, there's certainly a link between toenail fungus and Candida. Let's get another thing straight. When people talk about systemic Candida, I think people are really confused. Some people think that live active Candida travels through the bloodstream and makes you very sick. It's not usually what happens, okay? If you've got a serious bloodborne yeast infection, you're probably going to be in ICU, intensive care unit. You're going to be very sick. You can often die with that kind of infection. It's more likely that you'll have endotoxins or you'll have chemicals produced as a result of dead Candida, or you'll have immune dysfunction as a result of dead Candida that is causing a systemic problem, right? Because your white blood cells and red blood cells travel everywhere, and they quickly mop up any types of infections, any type of bacteria or virus or yeast or anything in the bloodstream. Because the bloodstream is the highway, it has to be kept clean. So you're not likely to find Candida swimming around all over the place, you know, through the heart, through the brain. You're not likely to find that. But when your immune system gets low enough, as an example, in an AIDS patient, when you've got full-blown AIDS, you're going to be very, very sick, and you're probably going to die of some very basic kind of a thing like Candida or a bacteria. Right? That's when it does become systemic. So that's the difference, you know, between what we mean by systemic and non-systemic. Candida is more likely to be a gut-related problem for most people, and in many cases it's going to be the small intestine. Can be the large intestine, but generally it hangs around in the small intestine. So if you've got toenail fungus, there's a big chance that you're doing something to feed that gut that's allowing, you know, the periphery of the body to have the right pH level and the right yeast level to get that toenail fungus to grow. So examine your habits. Are you a sugar eater? Do you eat chocolate? Do you drink alcohol? If you're feeding this habit, could be also feeding the toenail fungus. In many cases, when a guy, for example, stops drinking alcohol entirely for 6 months or a year, toenail fungus disappears. Or the woman stops eating candy bars, okay, vaginal infection disappears, or toenail fungus disappears. There's generally something underpinning that toenail fungus. And then the environment also is conducive towards allowing that to grow. A person will be wearing stockings or socks all the time. They won't be walking around bare feet much. Right? So those could be other issues why they're allowing that toenail fungus to continue. So there is a link. And have a think about what I said. If you've got issues with toenails, treat the gut. Stop the habit that's feeding the peripheral yeast infection. Treat the gut with something like Candida removed, for example. Use some tea tree oil on the toenail and it will disappear over a period of months, almost by default. And check out my videos on toenail fungus. There are a few of those too. Thanks for tuning in.